Bold and beautiful spoilers for Wednesday, December 11th mock that the action is really warming up. But before we get to that, we have a quick programming note. The political trial hearings were advanced to BB on Monday, so the episode that would have been broadcast will now air on Tuesday, assuming there are no more interruptions. Here, we have a preview of what you can expect to see in the episode on Tuesday, assuming it is broadcast as scheduled. First, Ridge Forrester, Thorsten Kaye, will prepare for the response of Brooke Forrester, Catherine Kelly Lang, to its great launch. As BB viewers know, Ridge has just arrived at Brooke with divorce papers in his hand and asked him not to sign them, but to give Thomas Forrester, Matthew Atkinson, a chance to save his marriage. What Ridge wants is for Brooke to forgive Thomas, since Thomas is really the only problem that stands in his way right now. Ridge decided that he was willing to forgive Brooke for denying Thomas' death, and that he is willing to put the job and effort to make his marriage work, no matter what. But will Brooke be willing to put aside her anger too? Well, according to BB's spoilers, Brooke will tell Ridge in clear terms that he won't forgive Thomas for his actions. Of course, Brooke is still very upset with Thomas for not telling Hope that Beth Spencer, River Davidson and Madeline Valdez was alive, and for manipulating her to get married. And Brooke will never forget Thomas's indecent proposal to Hope. In fact, bold and beautiful spoilers say Brooke will give Ridge some of her own terms. She will tell you exactly what it will take for them to meet. And that will probably mean that Ridge turns her back on Thomas in some way. Whatever it is, it will be something that Ridge will absolutely refuse to do. According to BB's spoilers, those divorce documents will be signed at some point, and could even be signed at that time when Brooke refuses to forgive Thomas. It seems to be the end of an era since the two cannot find a way to save their marriage. It seems to be the end of the line for Ridge, at least for now. Meanwhile, in Wednesday's new BB episode, Thomas will listen to his sister Steffi. As BB viewers know, Steffi has just discovered that Thomas asked Hope Logan, Anakin OL, to return to Forrester Creations and work with him on Hope for the future, with him as lead designer. Bold and beautiful spoilers say that Steffi will demand Thomas's answers about what he is doing, and she will criticize him for trying to get closer to Hope and for using Douglas to do so. Steffi will tell Thomas that he needs to stay in his own lane and focus on being Douglas's father with Hope and nothing else. However, it seems that Thomas will shoot Steffi directly and tell him to trust him, that he has an ongoing plan and everything under control. That will probably exasperate Steffi, who is already irritated with Thomas for signing more than half of Douglas with Hope. Thomas will probably tell his sister not to worry, and that if his plan goes well, then he will be with Hope and Steffi can end up with Liam Spencer, Scott Clifton. Of course, this won't please Steffi at all, since, A, he isn't looking for a relationship with Liam, and, B, he doesn't want Thomas with Hope. But Steffi will do everything possible to warn her brother and she can make demands on what she should and should not do. But it is doubtful that Thomas will listen. The Bold and Beautiful was preempted today as the presidential impeachment hearings continued in the United States. The Bold and Beautiful did not air today due to the continuation of the impeachment hearings being broadcast on CBS in the United States. Bold and Beautiful will return with a new episode on Tuesday, December 10th. In the meantime, with Thomas and Douglas pleading with Hope to return to Forrester Creations and collaborate under Hope for the Future clothing line, we're wondering if you think it's a good idea, or are leery for her to work with Thomas, or if you feel she should spend time with Beth right now instead. Let us know by voting in our poll. Bold and beautiful fans are not sure that Hope will ever find someone with whom to share her life and be happy. She's a young woman who is so unhappy with so many things and for so many reasons, and we cannot figure out what she can or should do to be happy in another capacity. She's a woman who has issues, and she's not good at fixing them. She relies too heavily on her mother, and she allows too many other people to make her decisions for her. She has dreams and goals and what she believes are good personal morals, but she's good at making poor choices. She has been with some men who have not been good for her, and we want to see the most impactful, good or bad, relationships she's had with these men. Oliver Jones. Hope was in high school when she met him, and she thought he might be the love of her life. She thought that there might be a situation in which they could be happy, but she was very adamant that she would not become her mother. She didn't want to be the type of woman who spent her whole life relying on men, and she was dead against it. She was saving herself for marriage. She was living her life her way, and she was not going to allow anyone else to mess with anything that might relate to that. But her mother accidentally slept with her own boyfriend at her graduation party. It was a masked theme, and she thought it was her husband. Now, we just don't understand how on the actual planet Earth the feel of a young man's body was anything like her husband's, but it happened. And that was not a good thing for Hope. She forgave her mother, but that was a very impactful moment in her life. One she could not come back from. Thomas. She's been off and on with Thomas for years, and each time has been worse than the last. She knows he is going to lie and manipulate and do anything he can to be with her while he has a chance, and she knows this is never going to change. He did it the first time they were together. She was in love with Liam, and she wanted to be with him even though he was with Stuffy. Thomas didn't care about that, though, and he did all he could to get her to be with him. Then there was the time that she was just overcoming the death of her baby and the end of her marriage to Liam as a result of the death. And he was trying to be with her then, too. They actually got married that time. But it was all lies and manipulation in bad situations. She's someone who has not learned her lesson with him. Liam Spencer. Their friendship was always a little more than just friendship. And we did spend many years thinking that they were meant for one another. However, over time, we all began to see the truth of the matter is that he is clearly just in love with Stuffy. She is someone he always wants to be with, and he cannot stay away from her. We feel he keeps going back to Hope because he feels a little sorry for her, a little obligated to her. And that one time that Steffi told him to because she was done being part of his life and his decisions. She was the one who pushed them back together. And she was the one who did this. However, we think that he would have chosen her had he had the chance. He always chooses Hope because Steffi is done with him. And it's a pretty obvious sign to us. However, he spends a great deal of time with her and cannot seem to get over her no matter how much he tries to do just that. They are the couple that will never work out no matter how many times they try. But he might be the most impactful relationship she's ever had.